Okay, our presentation was called Real Bad Arabs, Portrayal in Hollywood Films. So our thesis is, in Hollywood, Arabs are portrayed as negative figures. So for my section of the video, I looked at the Hollywood portrayal, and in Hollywood, Arabs are portrayed as subhuman usually, and by studying lots of films, there's usually like a negative stereotype and pattern seen over and over again. So for men, Arab men are usually seen as extremely violent and racist against Americans, and usually terrorists, or they're seen as like stupid kind of minor characters that just are there to deliver laughs, and they're like obsessed with American women. And Arab women, the views have changed for them. So it used to be that they were like seen as like belly dancers and like exotic, and now they're more seen as like bombist terrorists who are like more hardcore and blow things up.
Alright, so the main idea of this topic, the Arab threat, Middle East politics, and Hollywood, is that politics or policy is influencing these main stereotypical ideas about Arabs in Hollywood films. These ideas are then reinforcing policy, thus creating a constant cycle. What happens politically is fed into Hollywood's ideas and overall perspective. These stereotypical ideas about Muslims originated post-World War II. Many events created and added to this foundation of stereotypical ideals. Some of these events include the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which America was entirely on the side of Israel. Another event includes the Arab oil embargo, which resulted in the increase of gas price all across America, resulting in infuriated Americans. And lastly, the Iranian Revolution, specifically when Iranian students held American diplomats hostage for more than a year. All of these events were broadcasted on television and were huge all across America. Americans all across the country witnessed this on the television, thus creating these manipulative ideas in the minds of all of the common people.
So my section was The Only Good Arab, and now my section focused mainly on the movies that Hollywood create. And now these movies are basically showing our men and women of armed forces going over and killing Arabs. Some good movie examples is like Iron Eagle, where a 16-year-old boy learns how to fly a fighter jet and goes over and bombs an Arab country. Other good ones, Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen, who goes over to Lebanon and kills scores of Arabs. And now the biggest one is called Rules of Engagement. Now this one is good as our Hollywood history because Samuel L. Jackson is sent in to evacuate U.S. citizens in the embassy in Yemen. Now the Yemeni citizens are violently protesting, not hurting anybody, but violence protesting. And then it shows the Marines shooting at the citizens and killing scores of them, including women and children. So Tommy Lee Jones is sent in to investigate, and all he finds out is that the Marines are guilty of this crime, until he finds a little girl with a missing leg. And he follows this little girl, and she leads him to a hospital full of victims in the shooting. He finds an audio tape next to one of the victims, and this audio tape shows that the Marines were guilty, and that the Yemeni citizens shot first. And so after this part, everyone in the movies are like, oh, they're so bad, let's kill them all. It turns out to be a slaughter, but yes, a righteous one. And now these movies do not help the stereotypes we put on Arab. They make it worse, and they fuel the fire.
So, as many negative stereotype movies there are also accurate movies that help us not portray this bad negative stereotype. The movie Three Kings is about these three soldiers after the Iraqi war going in and trying to steal Saddam Hussein's gold. So these three soldiers go out and you start to see friendship being made between them and the Arab people. It's very accurate because you do see the bad side too. You see Saddam's soldiers, even after the war, treating the Arab people poorly. You start to notice this large friendship being made, even between the Arab people, and it is played by George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, and Ice Cube. And last one is another accurate movie, Paradise Now. It's a story about these two men who are planning on committing a terrorist crime. They're planning on blowing up like a building by doing suicidal bombing. And so it shows them how they feel about going through this process themselves, and how they're not subhuman, they are human, they go through the same emotions we do. And throughout the movie, they realize that they don't need to be doing this, and they go through a large journey showing that it's not worth it. So, thank you.